Let me clear my screen.
I'm going to record this.
That's fine. Right, so this is a fairly short presentation. I developed it last year and presented it to several clubs because we had such growth in the league and in all the local clubs. We wanted a way to get new members, something to focus on. You know, an easy club to an easy program to start with. So I'll talk for a moment about MERAL since Paul did mention it. So the league is 300 clubs all across the United States, and actually I think there are a few international members. And I had to update my slide. It used to say 21,000. It was up to 22,000 now. So it's definitely growing, and that's a good thing. But the club that I'm in, which is in Westchester, Pennsylvania, we're up to about 160 members, and probably only 6, 7 years ago, we were half that. So we've seen dramatic growth. And it's truly of a lot of clubs. But the these are the regions of the league, and this is us. We are the Mid-East region. And so Mid-East region of the Astronomical League equals MERAL. So many people say, you know, we're a member of MERAL. Well, that's the Mid-East region. That's us. Now, this is from the AL website, Astronomical League website. This, of course, is not me. This was the guy who was before me. And I actually became chairman about 3 years ago. But the league website is being totally redone. They can't even update these for the last couple of years. So within a few months, a brand new website will be out. And I'm looking forward to seeing that because the old website is pretty clunky. But here's our region: PA, West Virginia, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and the southern half of Jersey, which is where you guys are. So most of the clubs, all the members of the clubs are members of the league, but not all clubs. But most of them are. And as a league member, you can participate. There are over 60 programs in the Astronomical League, and there's a wide variety. Some can be done simply naked eye. One of my favorite ones are the binocular clubs. I really like the binocular clubs. I've done most of those that are available. The Lunar Club is a lot of fun. That's a really neat one. There's Lunar 1 and Lunar 2. I did Lunar 1 early on. Lunar 2, it's a lot trickier. Still a few things to do on that, but Lunar 1 was a lot of fun. Well, the one I'm talking about tonight is the Constellation Hunter program. You know, a lot of clubs have got new members, so this is a great way for new members to enjoy astronomy and learn the night sky. The club I'm in, we just finished giving a series of 6 astronomy classes, beginner classes. And we spent a lot of time on telling people how important it is to learn the sky. And even for a long-time member, if you've not learned the sky, if you learn the sky really well, it's going to expand every one of your observing skills. So there's the 2 programs. There's the northern and southern skies. Of course, we do the northern sky. And you don't need anything special. That's the nice thing about this club. If you don't have a telescope, so what? It might be nice to have binoculars. They're not required. All you really need is a sky chart, and I'm going to show you where to get them. And you need a reference for the brighter star names. And most of the sky charts you can get on the internet have those also. Or there's so many apps out now for iPhones and iPads and Android phones. You can easily get these things for no cost at all. So objective of the program is a forum for the novice user to become more familiar with the constellations and brighter stars. And you begin to learn how to navigate among the stars, which is crucial for anything you're going to do to move on. So it's a solid foundation for moving to other programs. It's a great program for new members, especially because there's no cost involved and they need to learn the sky. This is the best way to do it. So a star map can be loaded. Let me see if I can switch my share to, can you see my browser? Everyone see this okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Here's sky maps. That's one we can get a free sky map. And every month you can download a free sky map, or what's out tonight. That's another really good one. It's free, and it has actually three. This is the sky maps is 2 pages. The front is the map, and the back has a list of things to look at. What's out tonight is actually a 3-page printout. So they're really easy to get, and they're well done. So this is what the April sky map. Uh, Again, it has a lot of the major stars labeled, has all the constellations labeled, and it will show this is a current one, it will show uh, planets. So it's showing Mars and Venus on this one. You don't need binoculars, but light polluted skies, binoculars will help a lot. A little deeper look into star fields that you can sketch, and you only need to include the main stars in your sketch. Don't have to sketch all the stars. Don't have to sketch all the little tiny details. And you can get full information on the League website. And this is what the page looks like, Constellation Hunter Program. Let me go back to the internet. So here's the League, and you would just go under Observe and Observing Programs. So here's the full list of all the observing programs. Just scroll down to Constellation Hunter, and there it is. So it's all there, easy. You can print out. Now I've already sent the list of constellations to Paul. You can hand that out, or you can get it from there. There's a sketching form. I'm going to tell you a little more about that sketching form, because I came up with one of my own that I also sent to Paul that he can hand out. So what do you need to do? What do you need to do? You need to observe and sketch all the constellations in the northern sky. Now you can see this is an example of what I did. You don't need to be an artist. I am not an artist. All you need to do is get the basic shape of a constellation, label the major stars, get the name, the date, the time, latitude, longitude, and estimate the seeing and the transparency. I made this form. I'll show you the one that Constellation Hunter Club on the internet, on the AL website has, but you can use this one too. So a dimmable red flashlight is really helpful. Probably a lot of you guys have, you members have them. This is my favorite. This is mine. Their Rigel system skylight. Lestron makes one too. You really want to be able to dim it, because a bright red light will also affect your night vision. So you really want to have a dim it to the point you can just barely see what you're drawing and what you're reading. It can take a year to get all these constellations, and that's fine. It took me about a year to do this. Or if you really want to zip ahead, you can do it faster, and I'll show you how. Especially in the wintertime, if you can stand the cold weather. But even now, you can do it. So if you go out tonight around, this is from Stellarium, did a screen capture. You go around 9 o'clock, okay, 2100, and you can get even some of the winter constellations just before they set. Okay, and then so you can go out, sketch for half an hour, go back in, warm up if it's chilly, or get a cup of tea, and then come out 2 hours later. This is 11 o'clock, and the whole sky has shifted. So now you have other constellations coming into view in the south. And then take a break, come out 2 hours later, and now you have the summer constellations coming up. So it doesn't have to take a year, but it's perfectly fine if it does. But there are ways to accelerate getting this program faster. So you can download this form, which is on the Astronomical League website, or this is the one I made. And it just is a little bit, you can get 200-page, a little easier organized. You don't have to fill in the transparency, you just circle it. So I sent this to Paul, and I'll show you another place you can get it. In fact, I'll show you that right now. You can get it from this is the MERAL website that I created. And if you scroll down here to resources, you go to Constellation Hunter Program resources, and here are those things also. This is the basics of the presentation, and is where you can download sky maps. And here's the log sheet is right there, and so you can get all this stuff from the MERAL website whenever you want to. And so anyway, that's the link I just showed you. Paul has this one, and you can download this one if you like that one better. So 39 constellations you have to observe. The list is downloaded. I also sent this list to Paul. He has that he can share. And this is what you get when you're all done. You got a certificate. This was mine. I did this. Let's see, when was this? This was back in, I think, in 2009. That's how long I've been doing this. Get a beautiful pin, and you get your name in the reflector. Okay, so it's kind of fun. I think that's all of the slides. So I'll stop the share. Any questions? I think everybody's muted.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, about the paperwork that you use to write your sketches on, and you said you made that. So, one of my questions was, could we use like dotted paper or graph paper, or is that cheating?
No, you can use graph paper, but you know, it doesn't have to be that exact. It just has to, basically you're demonstrating that you've observed it and you know what its basic shape is. It's not about the artwork. I mean, you can make it
Yeah.
artsy, fun to do, but it's just to show that you found it in the sky, you found the major stars. I mean, some constellations, you only, depending on the skies where you're at, you may see only 2 stars, and that's okay. You see
So
what
if
you
you only
see,
see
you know?
Castor and Pollux, it still counts as Gemini?
If that's all you can see, then that's what you sketch.
Okay.
Now if you got a set of binoculars, you can probably see a lot more.
Yeah.
Let me show you what I used a lot for this. Let me grab the. I'm not sure if anybody's seen any of these kind of binoculars. These are Vixens, but Orion sells them now, I think, and they're not that expensive. These are really cool binoculars. They look really goofy. So these are 2 power binoculars, 2.1, I think. And it says, well, what does 2 power do for you? What they do, it makes your eyes this big. So you can go out in a night, we may only see Castor and Pollux, and you hold these up, and you're going to see all the stars in the constellation. They suck the light in and pick it into your eyes. Now, the view is only best in the middle. They get a lot of distortion there, but so what? You look in the middle. These are really, really cool. And I use these a lot, especially if you're doing like a polar alignment to find Polaris before it's dark. You can use it to find Polaris really early on.
Can you put filters on them?
No, they're
Too
pretty
big?
simple things.
So it's like an advantage. They're like a wider field of view than typical binoculars.
Oh yeah, much well. It's only 2 power.
Yeah.
So you have nearly almost the same as your eyes, but what it's doing is sucking a lot of light in, giving you ability to see very faint stars. You can't see naked eye, but you'll see them with these. You'll probably see the entire little dipper with these. So, but any binoculars will work. These were just happen to be really perfect for this program, but you don't have to buy them. And if you only see 2 stars, then you only see 2 stars. That's what you draw. Don't worry about it. So once you get all 39 done, then whoever your club coordinator is would send it in to the Astronomical League, and that's how you get the certificate and the pin. But probably your Alcor, your Astronomical League coordinator, would do that. Unless you have
Yeah,
someone else.
that's Tim Moyer in our club.
Yeah, he would then submit that to the AL, and they would mail it out to you.
I was also curious too about the sketching. We noticed that in your sketches, some of the stars would feel a little bigger and or smaller. I'm guessing it's like magnitude. Is there any sort of expectation about representing magnitude or other stars that are not in the lines?
Well, just like let me share screen.
Do you ever tell anybody no and don't give them a certificate?
I don't think that's probably it. Not
You're not a stickler like that?
No, I mean, it has to be done with good intent. That would be all. If
Anyone
someone-
ever plagiarize
I
star
don't
maps?
No,
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
the only one who would know is you. So it's like
True.
these star charts, the bigger the dot, brighter the star. And you would use the same sort of idea when you plot your when you plot your bigger the dot, the brighter the star, just like any other star chart. So, but no, if you get caught cheating, they throw you into jail for an astronomical league jail. So
Yeah. Gotta pay a
But it's
fine.
really for your own benefit. So, you know, it's
Sure.
the more effort you put into it or whatever,
yeah,
probably the more you get out of it.
And that's why I was asking about the graph paper for scale.
you
know,
can use that. That's fine.
Perfectionist.
There's no reason you can't use graph paper. None at all.
Thank you.
How are astro imagers who don't know how to look at the sky without a computer going to handle this?
Well, there's other programs for them, Dave.
Okay.
You never know how much you're going to learn until you do one of these.
You know, once you learn this, once you learn the constellations, it's like every late winter, early spring. When I see Leo coming up, it's like seeing an old friend.
Oh,
The constellations become like your buddies, and oh hey, there's Leo. Leo's been gone for like 6 months. I haven't seen it. There's Leo back, and I know the warm weather's coming. And it's like seeing an old friend again. So it's really
that's how I
nice.
feel about the moon. Every time I see it,
Yep.
I'm like, oh, there's my best friend. Haven't seen you in a couple days.
Yep.
Those
Yep.
darn
Yep.
clouds.
The moon is wonderful. Yeah.
Well, I did a program where there was a lot of objects, and it was not, it wasn't just Messier and Caldwell. And there's a lot of stuff I still go back to and look at that you don't come across, in just your normal observing books.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just as good to look at as the common stuff.
Yeah.
So Paul, you have all that stuff I showed. You can
Okay.
distribute it as you see fit. So
So now the ball's in my court to get that out there or put that where everybody can get it. So, okay. Well, thanks, Don.
sure. All right.
Unless
Well,
anybody has any other questions for Don.
I guess I just ask one more for members who may be newer to the hobby. Other than Constellation Hunter, are there other programs that we could recommend to say here's a good starting point to looking at the sky?
well, let's take a look. Let's go back to
Binocular
go
observing.
here to let's go look at the list here. I'll tell you some of the ones that I think are good starters. So the lunar program one is like, because some nights when the moon's out, you can't see the faint stuff. So the lunar club is a really good one. Other ones that are really good are the
I think
binocular
there's a
ones.
Mars one too, right?
Like binocular Messier, that's a great one. I really enjoy doing that. Binocular double star is really good. Again, because a lot of people may not have a telescope. You don't need a telescope. For a new observer, a new member, one that I did not too long ago was a lot of fun. Is this Universe Sampler? This one actually is a lot of fun. It's like some of everything. This would probably be, other than Constellation Hunter, the Universe Sampler is a really good one. And you can do that one the naked eye if you need to. So I would recommend the Universe Sampler as the next one you do. But if you don't have fun, Lunar Club is a lot of fun. You can do that when the moon's out. You have to do it when the moon's out, when you can't do other stuff.
And that'll give us something for some newer folks who might be joining to point to and say here's something to give a shot.
Yep. Yeah, Universe Sampler would be a really good one to recommend. I don't think I don't have my pin here. Well, here's my lunar pin. That's lunar pin. And yeah, then the deep sky binocular. That one's a lot of fun. Here's my deep sky binocular pin if I don't lose it. I like doing a lot of binocular work. I really do enjoy it.
Yeah, we just had a member a few months ago who finished the binocular program. So,
Yeah, they're fun. They're fun.
but we're just, as a club, we're just kind of getting into that. We've got a completed a few programs, but we've only really been seriously a member now of the AL for a few years. So,
Okay, okay.
and we probably quadrupled or more our membership this past year. So,
Wow. Wow. How many members are in the club now?
well, I think about half of our membership, 50 or so, are in the astronomical league. We got about 100 members totally.
See, with our club and a lot of the clubs in the area here in Pennsylvania, it's part of being a member.
Right, right.
It's just a specific part of the dues. So everyone that joins is automatically in the AL. So, and it's worth it just for these programs and for the Reflector. The magazine is excellent.
So, okay. Well, thank you, Todd.
So I'm going to drop off then, let you guys carry on with your meeting.
Okay.
If you need anything else, just let me know.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thanks.
joining.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Don.
Sure. See ya.
I'm going to share my screen again. I have a couple more things and then we can do the roundtable. First, I guess a few months ago, people had talked about observing Omega Centauri, and it's probably still a good time to do that. I guess this is a chart for 10:30 at night for like next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. So around this time of year, and it's still in the evening, and Omega Centauri crosses due south, so it basically transits. So it's still in the season, if you will, to see it. And you can see it's just a couple degrees above the. I think it only gets about 2 or 3, 4 degrees above the horizon from New Jersey. So you need to go to a good location to see it. The next chart is kind of, well, so the other point I wanted to make, in the constellation Virgo, the bright star Spica, that's the beginning of how you find Omega Centauri, because it's basically on the same meridian. So when Spica's in the sky crossing south, Omega Centauri is right below it. So that's kind of how, and then, over here is Corvus, and somewhere in here is the Sombrero. So that's the part of the sky this is in, down below Sombrero. But you really need a good southern location to see it because it's only a couple degrees above the horizon. And the next chart is just kind of a zoom in. So there's like a little triangle, and then there's another star here. So you kind of find that. If you go here, you go to Spica, you go down, there's that little triangle and the star. So that's kind of how you can star hop to it. And there's another galaxy, Centaurus A, which is just above it. So they almost form a little square galaxy, the triangle, a bright star, and Omega Centauri. This was a picture I took 5 years ago, actually, April 2018, from East Point. That's a location I know a number of members often go to, and I went there back with Mike Keith while he was still in the area, and you can see that little triangle here. You go down, there's the bright star, and there's Omega Centauri, and there's the other faint galaxy. So there's kind of that square of objects, if you will. And you can see this was across Delaware Bay, and there was some light domes down in Delaware. This might be Dover, Delaware, I think. So, but otherwise, I mean, you're Delaware Bay, so you got view right down to the horizon. So that's
Do you
like,
know what time you took this? What time at night or day?
it was in April, so like it was a month ago. So I think it was closer to midnight or 12:30.
Okay.
So it was a little bit later because it was earlier in the season, but like now in May or in the next week or two, it's like going to be up like that around 10:30 at night. So
Thanks.
anyway, it's just an interesting or kind of a challenge object. This was an image I took of it that night. And I actually took this with my iPhone and through an 8-inch telescope, but there's a twist where Mike Keith was there and he had one of these magic eyepieces, if you will, or light enhancing eyepieces, so or image intensifier. Like I know Tim Moyer has one now in our club. So I held the iPhone up to the image image intensifier. So that's why, even though it's low and just a fraction of a second image, it got this with the iPhone. So it was mainly the image enhanced fire, but the view through that was pretty nice. And this is what it looks like. Mike Keith took this picture, and I think it was from an observatory in Chile. So he rented time or borrowed time on a telescope. So down in Chile, of course, it's not 2 degrees above the horizon, but it's probably directly overhead and through a big telescope. And it's the reason it's cool is it's the best globular cluster in the sky. So, I mean, it's one of those things, it's kind of on the to-do list to go south a bit and try to see it from a much better location up high in the sky. But we can see it from New Jersey with
Paul,
some effort and timing.
is that the galaxy right above Omega Centauri? That blue star? Yeah, is that the galaxy?
Now, this is all just, I mean, I don't know what that is, but this is all just within Omega Centauri itself. I mean, it's probably a degree or so field of view here.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. But that other galaxy is probably 5 degrees above it that I showed on the finder chart. So it's not that one, definitely.
Okay.
And if anybody hasn't been to East Point, this is the lighthouse that gives East Point its name, kind of a quaint little lighthouse right on Delaware Bay. So it's nice to visit during the day, and it's typically not open, but every now and again the lighthouse is open for tours. And it's a nice spot to take some nighttime shots. A few of us were down there a couple years ago, and I took this shot. And being right on the water, there's lots of other opportunities to. This was just a sunset shot, but it gives you an idea of the location. And I think this was Delaware Bay, but kind of to the west is the mouth of the Maurice River that kind of runs down through Millville and, I don't know, Vineland area somewhat. So the lighthouse is kind of on the east side of the mouth of the river into Delaware Bay. I've used this shot as my background. That was kind of the same night and kind of these, I think they call them crepuscular rays coming out of the sun. Anyway, kind of an interesting shot. But it's kind of a scenic location. So if you haven't been there, it's just cool to go to East Point, check it out. And even if you don't get to see Omega Centauri, it's a kind of a good location. The other thing I wanted to talk just a couple minutes about is the total solar eclipse that's now about 11 months away, April 2024. So it's probably, I know some of you have probably already started thinking about it or making reservations. So this is kind of the big map. It's going to go from Mexico and Texas up through kind of the Midwest, Ohio, upstate New York, northern New England into Canada. And it's going to be kind of an afternoon eclipse. You can see here in Texas, it's like 1:40 in the afternoon Central Time. And in areas closer to us, it's like 3 o'clock. I believe this is the middle of the eclipse or the the maximum eclipse. So it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time. In terms of, for us, the closest place would probably be upstate New York, kind of western New York and up into the Adirondacks. The little tip of Pennsylvania just below Lake Erie, kind of the northern half of Ohio, and then points further west. But you kind of get an idea of here of where you can go. And my family's from upstate. That's where I grew up, actually, just outside of Niagara Falls. My sister lives right under the R in Rochestershire. Her house is virtually on the center line. So that's possibly the area I'm going to be going to see it. And that's from down here, it's about a six-hour drive. So it's doable. Other places would be further. This is a chart showing Texas, the path through Texas, Arkansas, kind of the southern central United States. I think the general consensus would be the weather prospects might be a little better in this area of the country. So if you want to up your probability of seeing it, you might want to head southwest. And if you don't leave our area, what do you see from New Jersey? Well, it's still a very deep partial eclipse. The graphic here shows you the little crescent sun. It'll be all that's left at the maximum eclipse again in our area to occur about 3:30 p.m. And the chart below shows that at that time the magnitude or the amount that the moon obscures or covers the sun is 87%. So you only see 13% of the sun, which is a really good partial eclipse. So if you don't get to travel, you can still see a good partial eclipse from our area.
Paul, do you know off the top of your head what day of the week that is?
No.
Okay,
April
I'm
8th.
sorry. I thought you would know for sure. I'm sorry.
I think it's a Monday. I think it's a Monday.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
think you're right. Yep. But
Will that be enough
Yeah, it's a
coverage to
Monday.
really dim it down here?
what's that?
Will that be enough coverage to make it noticeably darker here?
Probably. I mean,
I
it'll.
think so.
Yeah, I think so. 87%. I mean, you still, because it's not total, you can't look at it without eye protection, of course. But yeah, I kind of remember from like when I saw the total back in 2018, it got fairly dim. Of course, then it went total. It got quite, it felt like night almost for a few minutes during totality, but it did get noticeably dimmer before. So yeah, I
Yeah.
would think it would be noticeable.
I actually remember that. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, unless there's any other questions, that's almost a teaser. We'll probably be talking more about that over the next 11 months. But having seen one in my life, I would highly recommend, if you've never seen one, make an effort to try to not just see a partial, but try to be in the path of totality, because it's something that, you want to do at least once in your life. So, that's all I have. So maybe I'll turn it over to you, Dave, if you want to lead the roundtable.
All
Sound
right.
good?
Well,
Unless anybody has other questions about the eclipse.
I have a question about the eclipse, the one in October that nobody's talking about. Annular eclipse. What is
Yeah.
it? Chopped liver? Does it get this no airtime?
What date is that one?
I believe it's October 8th. Somebody bring up a picture of an annular eclipse and share it.
I'm not sure I have one handy, but
I timed that completely wrong. My wedding's on the 3rd.
Oh, you're getting married? Congratulations.
Thanks, yeah.
Oh, when's the bachelor party?
Well, I'm in a couple weeks. I'm meeting up with my best man, so to be determined.
Okay, I'll meet you out on the recreation field.
All right.
Now the annular goes from like Oregon down through Texas, so it's kind of opposite to this one,
Let's see.
and it. But I guess an annular is at the other point in the moon's orbit, where the moon is slightly further. Yeah. It's slightly closer to Earth when it goes between the sun and the Earth. So no, it's farther away, so it's smaller. And it doesn't cover the whole sun. So they call it an annular because you get an O or an annulus if you're in kind of the center path of the eclipse.
I'm trying to find an image of it right now. Here we go. But I click on this here. So I'm going to share my screen, which was a very quick share. So for those of you who've never seen an annular eclipse, if you can see this okay, over here on the right, can you see my cursor?
Yep.
So as the moon moves in front of the sun, but the moon is farther away from us, it can't cover the sun, so it leaves this ring around it, which looks to be a very spectacular thing. You just don't see that every day. And if you click on this picture here, if I can, it'll show you this is the path of the annular eclipse and the path of the total eclipse and how they crisscross near San Antonio, Texas. So for those of you who might consider, can you see that?
Yep.
Traveling anytime October 14th. Obviously, hey, X marks the spot. You want to live here for a couple of months, for a few months. Okay, nice place to camp. Anyway, might be a tough winter, but that remains to be seen. So, yeah, I was want to try and see if I can somehow manage to get out to see the annular eclipse. Never seen one, not getting any younger, and would like to do that. And you know, if you've never seen one, why not? You know, you just don't see them every day. I don't know. Oh, how often do they happen?
Well, probably somewhere on Earth every year or two,
And
but
not in the United States.
it's been quite a while. So
There you go. Go see an annular eclipse if you can. Anyway, I'm going to work the round table here and over on my based on my screen, and over to my right on my screen is Harold.
Well, I have nothing. I've already kind of talked myself out.
I thought you said you had something you want to share.
Oh, no, that's for a later night.
Okay. I mean,
I don't have anything
we
ready
don't have a
right
real
now.
big crowd tonight. Tonight's a good night to share something.
I'm going to pass. I don't have anything set up. Those pictures I mentioned earlier, I don't have those ready to go.
All right, no problems. And I do want to ask, has everybody who was interested voted in the photo contest? I
Yep.
see a couple of head nods, and I myself have yet to vote. I just keep forgetting. I had a little problem with the link.
when is it through the end of the month?
Yeah, we have 20 days left exactly.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Did you vote yet, Paul?
No.
Boy, aren't we a couple of role models?
So neither of you are eligible to win the prize that we're going to give out to people that voted.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what Paul needs, is another SJAC team. So, all right, well, right below you on my screen is Dave. And hi, Dave.
Hi.
How you doing? Anything going on in your life astronomically?
Nothing. Not a thing. I have nothing.
Got nada.
Nada.
You sound healthy, and that's important.
Sorry.
It's not your fault that you sound healthy. It's a good thing. So, all right, well, we're gonna get you out there. I don't know if we're gonna send somebody just to grab you and drag your butt out there.
Well, hopefully the Skywatch next week, right? Right,
Yeah.
Dave?
It'll be good to see you. Hopefully I can make that.
Fine.
All right, right below you now, my screen's changed around a little bit. I don't know why. Somebody dropped out, is Wayne Ernst.
Hi, everybody. So I guess on the professional side of my life, the course is still going pretty well. We finished talking about all the main sorts of things. Finally, you can see in the sky: globular clusters, galaxies, and obviously stars. So the students, I'm excited, are working on a project that sort of summarizes everything. They're responsible for looking up the properties of different constellations. I assigned them constellation groups that were sort of grouped up by mythology. So like if they want to study Hercules, they also got to look at Cancer, Leo, and I think one more. I'm blanking, but that way. I'm sorry, say again.
I said Cassiopeia, but that's probably like a different mythology.
Hey, Cassiopeia. That one is linked with Andromeda, Cassiopeia, Perseus, and I'm blanking again. But that way they sort of get the sort of history